Hi. So I I talked a little bit about picking lemons, getting the juice from the lemons, and putting them in milk with sugar, and that it tastes good. Um, so I'm going to try to show that graphically today. Um, I should start out by saying that when I was a kid, my parents pointed out to me once that you can actually chew liquids. You can even chew water um, when you drink it, which is sort of a funny, fun sort of thing to point out. Does it benefit you? I don't know. Does chewing water benefit you? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I do it or not. Anymore, I almost never drink water by itself, and I don't know if I chew it when I do drink it, but you can. And you can chew milk. I drink a great deal of milk. And I'm not sure if I chew it when it's just milk. I got a gallon of milk here, and I'm going to take a swig and just see if I chew it. Um, and I probably will talk later about why this even matters. So, well, in that case, now I don't know if I always do this. I'm more self-conscious in front of the camera. In that case, I let a certain amount of milk go into my mouth, the empty space of my mouth. I didn't swallow it. And a little bit of it I sort of pushed up a little bit and chewed a couple of times. And that's plain milk. Usually my milk has other stuff in it because I acquire food for various reasons. I eat food that other people in the family don't want, and I don't want it to go to waste. People give me food sometimes. I find food on the street when I'm out for a walk that's usually unopened or at least is safe. It might be dried food. And a lot of that I put in my milk. I'll show you in this video. I use a big funnel, or some things you can put straight into the nozzle of the milk container. Some things I use a funnel. Now in this case, and I do know someone who has a big lemon tree, and they've given me permission to pick lemons. So I juice them. I'll show you the limit, but I use this old-fashioned juicer. It's hard to, these things, I clean them every time after I use them, but it's hard to get all that residue off. But that's about as clean as I've been able to get it. I don't want to put it through a dishwasher because it's glass. That might be too hard on it. And I'm not even sure that would get that final dried on residue. Now, lately I've been, the way I generally pick lemons is that I just feel them on the tree, kind of squeeze them. This lemon is much greener than I think most people would pick it. But to me, when I feel it, it felt a little bit soft. It's pretty hard. A little bit soft, and I felt kind of good in my gut about picking it. I'm not going to get much lemon juice out of this. I got about 10 of these today. I don't think I'll get much lemon juice. And I don't think most people would do it this way. But what I'm going to show you, I think you could apply. If I waited till these got big and yellow and soft, I think it would be the same, except I'd get more lemon juice out of them. And I'm going to cut off this. I will be cutting this in half to put it on that juicer. And when I push down, the way this works is you get a half on here and you push and kind of grind it. But I'm going to cut off this end. This end's not too bad, but this end would hurt the palm of my hand as I push down. So I'm going to smooth that out. which I'll do with all the lemons, but I don't think they'll all be on camera. And then I'm going to cut it in half. And yeah, that's not gonna yield a lot of juice, but that's okay. I mean, I'm learning. I haven't been doing this forever. Maybe the tree still has a lot of lemons on it. I just go by how it feels in my gut. If it feels right, I do it. It happened to feel right to get these green lemons. When I grind this, you won't see it. I don't think this desktop can necessarily support. I'm going to put it on a kitchen counter by the sink. I'm not only going to grind in the center, but I'm going to try to kind of grind the edges. I'm going to try to get all that juice. And you'll also see a lot of fiber on the top of this when I come back. And I've got 10 lemons. It's going to take a while. I usually stop after I get juice up to about here, because otherwise when I'm grinding the next lemon it can start to actually get in the juice. So I'm going to get it up to here, dump it in the milk with some sugar, and then grind some more. But let me go grind these. Okay guys, so now I got a little bit of lemon juice. That was about 3/2, and you can see a lot of fiber. And I could have kept grinding a little bit. This is not very full, but I'm pushing down so hard on these lemons, and they can slip all of a sudden and go in the lemon juice. So I often dump juice when I don't really have much. And also my hands get kind of tired, because these lemons are not too ripe, and you have to push down hard, so your hands get tired. I wish I could go in the kitchen and film, but I don't have a camera operator to do that for me. It's pretty difficult. Another thing that can happen is that as you're grinding your lemon, you get a little lemon juice on your hands, and it becomes very hard to grip the lemon. In that case, I usually stop. I kind of rub the lemon juice all over my hands to kind of thin it out and let it evaporate. And I might dump whatever juice I have, but then rest a while. I want to let, well, the lemon juice often gets juice then on the peel and on your hands. I want to let everything dry up. Or maybe I'll start a new lemon. I'm sorry. This would all be easier if I could show you, but I hope I'm giving you some ideas, problems you may encounter if you do this. Okay, and how I've solved them. And I've been doing this for years now, so I've gotten pretty good at it. I'm not going to look so good because I can't do it in the kitchen, but I have encountered some of the problems. So there's your big funnel, and here's my sugar. So I'm gonna get some. So I'm gonna dump the sugar in the funnel down into the milk, and I can tell you this lemon juice is pretty sour. It takes quite a bit of sugar to make it taste okay. And then I'm going to dump the lemon juice. There it goes down. And that goes in with the seeds. I do have another video on how to eat lemon seeds, and I'll link it, and check it out. It's pretty interesting. These seeds, these lemons aren't very developed. A lot of these seeds are undeveloped, barely developed, and you can eat them completely as you drink, and as you get a lemon, when you tip back the milk container and drink, you will get lemon seeds in your mouth. These can be eaten with the husk and all. But once a lemon seed is really developed, there's a whole technique for eating it that I explicate in the other video. They form a really fibrous husk that you can get off with your teeth and tongue, and then eat the lemon seed and discard the husk. It's a thin, tiny little husk. It's around a small lemon. I mean, lemon seeds are pretty small, and a husk around a lemon seed is even smaller. With these seeds, you will encounter some that have developed a husk, and you would do the same thing, but a lot of them won't be that developed. And I can tell you what else. For one thing, this is probably not going to be enough lemon juice to give this much of a lemon flavor, this milk. It's going to be pretty diluted. But it's still, I mean, I enjoy the process of making this. I enjoy knowing that the lemons didn't go to waste. I enjoy knowing that there's something else in my milk. This particular milk has quite a few foods in it, though. I mentioned the various ways I acquire foods. But if I only had milk and lemon juice, having that lemon juice would add just a bit of taste, a bit of a second facet of taste to it. I can say that, well, one thing about this lemon juice, it's going to split up this milk into what they call curds and whey. Curds is the solid part of the milk. They call it the milk solids, and then the whey is the kind of watery part of the milk. And so, I mean, I'm not going to get much lemon juice here. I think it'll split it some, but not enormously. If I got a lot of lemon juice, it would split it more. And that's fine. I think that bothers people to think of drinking curds and whey. I will say every swallow I take of this concoction, I screw on the lid and shake it first. But yeah, you're going to get curds and whey, and towards the further on in the video, I'll show you how you deal with that when you take a swallow. And it refers back to the idea that you can chew. Well, in this case, you're going to have solid curds. You are going to chew them as you take a swallow, and you'll probably end up chewing the whey a little bit too. But let me go get some more lemon juice. Guys, I can show you some of these lemons. I had mentioned slicing off the bump so you can press down. This bump isn't very pronounced, but I would still cut that, just like that, so it'll be more comfortable for my palm. That I'd probably cut off too, because that's pretty hard right there. That's where it came off the tree. I may as well say, I'm going to eventually, okay, so this isn't going to have a great deal of lemon flavor with this milk, I don't think. The sugar actually will be nice with the milk. And there'll be, when I drink it, I'll sense that there is something in there, sort of, but it won't taste super lemony because there isn't enough of it. But I can tell you, most of the time I've done this with lemons that yield more juice. And when you really get a lemon flavor and sugar and milk going together, they're really, really taste very good, really excellent. But if you didn't want to go to this trouble, I would think you could just buy lemonade in the store and mix it with milk and drink it. I don't know. I haven't heard of people doing that much, but I would think that tastes pretty good. And maybe that would be good with other fruit juices. Orange juice maybe with milk, strawberry. Does anyone make strawberry juice? But you could mix that with milk. Um, Maybe apple juice with milk would be good. But for me, I tend not to spend my actual money on any foods except milk, and I buy cream, and then I buy sugar. Um, and that's about it. Um, I'm a big believer in fluid dairy products, and I buy the sugar to actually make lemonade because I tend to have access to lemons year round practically. Um, so I'm going to go cut those away. I didn't want to bring the cutting board back in. So I got a little more juice in there and a lot of fiber. So I'm going to put some sugar and some juice, and the juice with the seeds. And I often take my finger and push. Every so often, I push all that fiber down in there. Let's see. It gets fiber on these kind of spines, so I'm getting it down in there. Now, I'm asking myself, I'm having to push down so hard on these lemons, I'm a little afraid I'm going to get a hernia. So I may alter this. I may stop doing these green lemons. I'm not sure. Like I say, I just go by my intuition. In other times, I've waited till lemons were much more yellow. Sometimes I've gotten them green. But I may change now or I may not. And you do whatever you want. I'm telling you how I do it, and I hope giving you some ideas. But I'm sure if you do this, you'll find your own way. So, got some more lemon juice. And gonna do sugar. And it's a fair amount of sugar, yeah. Put that in and dump. One interesting thing I can tell you is when these spines get this fiber on it, if you ever clean it off, you'll find that the next lemon will grind more easily with the fiber cleaned off. I think you'll find that. I have. I should also say sometimes when I get a lemon in my mouth, when I take a swallow and get seeds in my mouth, I may spit them back in here if I'm too tired to deal with them. And I'll get them on a future swallow. Sometimes you can end up with a lot of seeds. Then ones that have gotten yellow and fully ripe can have oodles of seeds. Okay, another grinder full and some sugar. So I'm going to go sugar. This sugar happens to be down. I think I'm going to sort of dump some of it. It's almost empty, but I do have more cupboards. And then dump in the lemon juice. I will tell you, when I'm doing this just for myself and not for the camera, sometimes I'll take the funnel out to get actually a swig, a swallow. And I have found that it's best to set it in the the grinder, because otherwise, so that way the lemon juice that's still in there is going to flow down into the grinder instead of onto the counter. This is, so I've almost finished my lemons. So I've got a half lemon left, but I was getting kind of full. So here goes the last of the sugar in there. And then the lemon juice. And I'll have to, I do have a bag of sugar in the cabinet. And I'll finish that last half lemon. I think also my hands have gotten a little wet. I usually like to, as I said, I stop, when my hands get wet, I stop grinding lemons for that moment and try to do something else so they can dry. I don't wash off with water. I used to wash them off with water and dry them on the towel, but now I kind of like the scent of the lemon juice on my hands, but I don't want them wet. So I just kind of rub it around and wait a while. And okay, so I've got the last lemon done. I'm just estimating the sugar. If you get too little sugar, after you drink some, you can always add more. If you get too much sugar, I usually would add more milk. And that'll dilute that. And there it goes. And I'm gonna get this fiber off here. Normally I would do this, I'm gonna do it as best I can for the camera. Normally I would do it very thoroughly. Getting it all down around here. And down it goes. And when you, with your grinder, once you've got it cleaned out of lemon juice and fiber, I mean, you may not eat the fiber. I like it, but you might even dump it down the sink. Down the trash. I don't know. This funnel, basically this funnel has some fiber and sugar in there, and it can be really nice to run your finger around there and then eat that, because it'll be the fiber, but it'll be sweet. I've been using a funnel for a long time, so I've gotten somewhat good with it too. Okay, so that's kind of how I would put this lemon juice and sugar. Now I'm screwing on the lid. Now I'm going to drink it. And that, funny enough, might be the part where people might have the least knowledge. So I'm shaking that up. This milk, I know it has some noodles in it that I found on the street. And I am not recommending that anyone else use food they found on the street. It's something I do. I feel safe about it. Usually it's sealed stuff. I might find an unopened can of vegetables, and that's good. At any rate, it also has a little alcohol. I've been finishing up some alcohol that my dad left when he died like 25 years ago. And now I'm going to take a drink. What kind of happens is that, yeah, that's a lemon seed. What kind of happens, I'll put it back in for now, is your sort of teeth, and I guess it's your teeth and sort of the front, bottom and top of your mouth, they kind of catch some of that solid food that's in there. Like I'm chewing on lemon fiber right now. I'm not sure if it's from the milk or from the funnel. And you kind of swallow the milk, the liquid part, And then you can take your time and chew the solid parts, whatever they may be. Over the years, I put all kinds of solid food in milk. And because you don't want to just swallow solid food unchewed, you can chew it. I chew it pretty kind of delicately and probing, because I'm probing for those lemon seeds. With the lemon seeds, I want to manipulate them in my mouth. I think I try to get those lemon seeds separated out in my mouth, because I want to see. In fact, I may dump all the ones back in except one seed, so I can really probe it, and I can see, does it have a husk that'll come off. And you'll have to watch my video on that to know what I'm talking about. Or is it one that's so undeveloped that it can just be eaten by itself, eaten completely without getting the husk off and discarding it. Yeah, I'm sorry. This, in a sense, this isn't really well done, because it has. I'm referring you to this other video. When you're chewing those solids, it's a pretty wet, juicy thing going on inside the mouth. You are chewing the solids, but you're chewing up some of the liquid too. That time you may have noticed I kind of let the liquid spread to the sides of my mouth. That's, I guess, why I mentioned my parents telling me you can chew your liquids early in the video. And if you got nothing else from this video, you may have gotten the idea that you can chew liquids. But this is pretty good. I'm mostly getting lemon fiber. There's some weird taste in there. I think some of the stuff I put in there is pretty darn old. That's an advantage of putting old food in milk, that it kind of you kind of only get a tiny bit of it at a time. It's so diluted. But that's sort of the idea. And you'll find your own way, I'm sure. If you use any of this, I don't know how many places people will even pick lemons. And you may not use any of this, but you may have found it entertaining or interesting. It gives you a way you could do it if you ever do it. I wish, in a way, I kind of wish I'd get some seeds here, because I could show you that. And maybe I'm not sure, I may edit on a second part to this, so you, as I guess, I probably won't. I'm afraid it's kind of a crummy video, because you have to, it would be best if you go and watch the video on how to eat lemon seeds. But let me stress again that some of the seeds in this one you aren't going to eat the way it's presented in that other video. Those seeds are fully developed seeds, but a lot of these seeds are not going to be hardly developed, and you won't eat them like in that other video. I mean, the way you do it is you just get the seed kind of between your teeth, and you kind of use your teeth and tongue to kind of work this husk off, and you throw that away and eat the seed. If I get me a good seed, I think I may attach it to the end of this. But anyway, those are some ideas, and I hope it's good for you. Another thing that can happen with these green lemons, even with yellow lemons, is you'll get a seed it's kind of got the husk, but it has almost no seed inside. So you'll work it a little bit with your tongue and your teeth, and you'll realize that you kind of try to squeeze out the seed from the husk, and you'll realize that there just is no seed in there. So you just throw the husk away. I don't know if I don't know if most people watching this would even want to deal with seeds, but I mean, as you encounter seeds, you can throw them away. You can take them out and plant them. I've planted some in the backyard. I haven't had anything sprout that I know of. But if you can't handle the seeds, you could throw them away. It might be hard to, I mean, you could pick them out of the grinder before you even dump it in the milk, but that might be difficult. Well, I was drinking this and I got what feels like a fully formed lemon seed. And so I'm going to show this, I guess, again. So I'm trying to get it in my teeth, and I'm trying to kind of squeeze the seed out. A lot of times I think I use the seed itself to break the husk. I kind of catch this. The husk, I think, is in two halves. I kind of catch the husk with my teeth and gently try to push the seed out. So I succeeded. So there's the husk. Not showing up very well here. I was able to kind of push the seed out. I chewed up the seed. I'm sorry. I meant to show you the whole seed. Anyway, that's the seed. And that came out whole from that husk, which that husk is pretty unpleasant. It's heavy fiber. I'm going to throw that away. And the seed is pretty enjoyable, and I'm sure it's nourishing, just like other seeds. Like lots of stuff is seeds, like sunflower seeds, peanuts are basically seeds. A lot of nuts are seeds. Here's another one. This one isn't as formed. I'm not sure what will happen with that. I'm trying to get the seed out. I don't know if this seed will come out nice and whole. There's not much seed in there. It's mostly husk, I think. Yeah, if there is any seed in there, it's just too hard to get it out. So I've smashed it down with my teeth, kind of hunting for the seed that I could then push the seed out of the husk, kind of squeeze the end of the husk and kind of work that seed out of that husk. But there's just not enough seed in there to get it out. So I'm going to throw that husk away because, I mean, the husks themselves are a little more bitter than the seeds. And the texture's not that nice. They're pretty heavy fiber. If you eat them, I don't think they'll hurt you, but they're kind of unpleasant. It's a little bit, it might be, I don't know if this is a great comparison, but it might be a little bit like eating an orange and eating the peel along with the orange. The peel probably is not as pleasant as the orange. Although I do occasionally eat an orange with the whole peel. It can be done. Some say the peel has more vitamin C, but mostly it's not as pleasant. It's just peeling the peel off, throwing it away, and eating the orange. So this time I got a really small seed, and I'm going to kind of bite on that with my teeth to see if there might be a tiny bit of seed in there. But there isn't. So I'm going to throw that. I'm going in the other room and having swallows of this milk. I'm just in the habit of not eating in here or drinking. I should be showing you that I'm talking about, but it's kind of what I already showed you in the video. Where you drink kind of carefully, you take it in kind of carefully, and try to catch the solids up front. I do still, since my parents told me that about chewing liquids, I sort of have an orientation towards doing that. Here it's a little complicated because when you get liquid and then those solids together, you have to let the liquid go down your throat somewhat so you can work on those solids. Because you have to chew those solids kind of carefully with those seeds in there. This one was kind of weird. This one was big, like a fully developed seed, but it was actually all husk. There was no seed in there, which I discovered when I kind of gently tried to push the seed out. Maybe that tells you the husk develops in a lemon before the seed inside does. I don't know. This is I should have been having the milk in here. I guess I'm going to shake it up and take a swallow. Yeah, there's another pretty well developed seed. So I had said that they weren't so developed in this, but actually I'm getting a lot of in these green ones, but actually they are. So that'll have to be sometimes you get half the husk split off and you can throw that away. So it'll be easier to get the seed separated from the other half of the husk. I don't think this one has enough to get anything out. There might be a very tiny bit of seed in there, but it's so small that it's just too hard to get out without accidentally swallowing husk. Because that's something I like to do too. I don't want to be so into getting the seed out, which takes a lot of the tools in here to get the seed out. The part of the husk gets swallowed, or even the whole husk. Yeah, I got that milk in there, but then I kind of pushed it back towards the front, and I chewed up the fiber, chewed up the liquid a little bit. That one was all fiber. There was no seed. And there wasn't any other solids too much that I put in this milk. Sometimes I get things in this milk, I don't know what they are. I'm getting a taste here. There's a solid something, but I don't know what it is. I'm also finishing up some old tea bags, so I'm cutting the tea bags open and putting them in the milk, putting the contents of the tea bags down in the milk, using the nozzle and the funnel. Sorry, this is a long video. I think it's because I'm taking something that I've been doing for years and trying to convey it to you who might be encountering it for the very first time here. So I'm trying to give you a good idea. I mean, if you actually do any of this stuff, you'll probably encounter your problems along the way, and I hope you'll solve them. I've encountered little problems along the way, I think, and then sort of learned how to get past them with experience. I do have a seed here. That's pretty small. That may be Got a bit of seed out of there. These husks are all pretty developed. I had been encountering husks that actually were so undeveloped that they were still pretty soft and they could be eaten. But these are pretty fibrous. They're not quite as fibrous as a really developed one, but they're pretty fibrous. Crud, guys. So this turned into a bit of a seed eating seminar, but if you think of that as the seed inside the husk, and that's your top teeth and your bottom teeth, I think you're trying to sort of catch it towards the front and kind of pull back a little bit on the husk, but you're trying to also get your teeth kind of behind the seed and kind of, oh boy, kind of push the seed forward so that it breaks the husk up here at the front. Oh, this is so hard on the camera. It's going to push the seed through so that it breaks. You use the seed to kind of break the husk. The seed will push up, it'll push up that direction, and there's like a, it'll break the seam. Like I said, the husk is in a half. It'll break, oh gosh, this is awful. It'll break the seed will kind of break the seam of the husk and come on through and out, and then the husk will be separate from the seed. Your saliva will help loosen up that husk a little bit too, and loosen up that seam. Boy, that was hard. I'm sorry. I hope that was more enlightening than confusing. I think I sort of have the feeling people may have used their teeth and mouth and tongue that way on something. I think you'll figure, I think you might have a feel for what I'm talking about, or you can figure it out, or you might have done something like that with your hands where you're gripping something and trying to force the thing inside out using your grip, kind of squeezing and pushing the thing inside out, except here you're using your teeth. Yeah, with practice, that whole thing with getting the seed out of the husk, with practice and experimentation, I think you'll get it. It's really not very hard. Yeah, to be more clear, you're trying to push the seed out the direction of that arrow, and the back of your mouth is on the opposite side of this arrow over here. Your teeth are coming down. Your teeth might kind of start towards the front of the seed, but they're kind of going towards, to get a little bit of, I think you can get a little bit of a grip on that husk with your teeth, but they're kind of going towards the back too and trying to squeeze and push that seed forward in the direction of the arrow and using the seed to break the husk. And sometimes you have to work it, you have to try once and it doesn't happen, so I think you might hold it in your mouth a little while longer to kind of let your mouth rest and let your saliva loosen it up a little bit, and then try again. I hope you can do it. If you can't, write to me underneath. Oh, and I may add some, if I think of more stuff after I finish the video, I'll write it in the details underneath. You can write comments and questions, and I'll try to explain it if you can't get it by yourself. Gosh, now that I think about it, if you're catching solids up in the front of your mouth, you're going to catch some of, I had mentioned how the milk kind of splits into the curds and whey. You're going to catch some of those milk solids, but some are going to go down your throat unchewed. but it still tastes good. You still get that milk taste around your mouth mixed with that lemon taste, or, well, in this case there's not so much lemon taste, but a little bit. So it's not a really black and white process. There's a lot of details to it, and a lot of it you'll discover on your own. Guys, if I think about it now, I'm not even sure I am trying to catch this seed at the front and then drag the husk back and while pushing the seed forward. Maybe I'm mostly trying to kind of get it maybe in the middle or towards the back and push the seed forward. Yeah, you gotta. It's just hard to say it really exact. I think you'll have to try it yourself. I was noticing with this milk, when I drink it, I'm drinking it. I kind of drink it, pull it in so that it kind of gathers towards the front of my mouth. I think sometimes when people take a swallow, they tip it and let it freely roll in, and it heads immediately towards the back of the mouth. But here I kind of pull it with it feels like a little bit of suction, and kind of keep it towards the front of my mouth, and I have pretty good control over what it does inside the mouth. So that's something you can keep in mind too. It's pulling the milk in. You can't feel the suction as I'm pulling in, but it's there, rather than just freely dumping it in. And as I pull it in, I kind of filter out. I think I can kind of catch those solids, as I've already mentioned. Or maybe sometimes I am dumping it in, but it's a pretty controlled dump. I think where it stays towards the front of my mouth, let me see. It's fairly small amounts. I think if you were just drinking liquids, you might take a bigger gulp, or you might not. But it's pretty small amounts. That might be important too, to control what's going in and what you're going to do with it in your mouth. If you don't shake it every time, you can end up with a lot of sugar at the bottom of the milk when you finally get that milk down to the end. So it is good to shake it with every swallow.